imagining how impressed her classmates would be at the sight of the grand mansion. The party began with grandeur. Sophia greeted her classmates at the grand entrance, pretending the mansion was her family's home. She paraded through the halls, pointing out expensive artwork and designer furniture as if they belonged to her. Vanessa and James were in awe. "Sophia, this place is incredible," Vanessa said, sipping her drink. "You really are the real deal." Sophia smiled smugly, soaking in the admiration. But her confidence began to waver when one of the students spotted Mrs. Obi nervously serving drinks. "Who's that?" the student asked, pointing to Mrs. Obi. Sophia's face turned pale. "Oh, just one of the staff," she said quickly. But her classmates noticed the resemblance between Sophia and the woman. "Wait a minute," someone said, frowning. "She looks like you." Before Sophia could deflect, Mrs. Obi accidentally spilled a tray of drinks, causing the room to go silent. In the awkward hush, someone whispered, "Is that her mom?" Sophia stammered, trying to regain control. "Of course not. Don't be ridiculous." As the evening progressed, a butler employed by the Okocha family entered the main hall, his expression one of confusion and concern. He had not been informed of any event and was taken aback by the presence of so many guests. Approaching Sophia, he inquired politely, "Miss, may I ask under whose authority this gathering is being held?" Sophia, maintaining her facade, responded haughtily, "This is my family's estate, and I am hosting this party. Your interruption is both unnecessary and rude." Some of the students nearby, eager to ingratiate themselves with Sophia, began to chastise the butler. "How dare you question Miss Sophia?" one exclaimed. "Know your place," another added, their voices dripping with disdain. The butler's eyes narrowed, a flicker of indignation crossing his features. Without another word, he stepped aside and made a discreet phone call. Within the hour, Emily arrived at the mansion, accompanied by her father, Mr. Okocha. The room fell into stunned silence as they entered, the realization of their true identities dawning upon the guests. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Isn't that Emily? The poor scholarship girl. She's the real heiress. We've been deceived." Sophia's face drained of color as she stood frozen, unable to process the rapid unraveling of her deceit. Mr. Okocha addressed the group with a calm yet authoritative tone. "Ladies and gentlemen, it appears there has been a misunderstanding regarding tonight's event." Emily's gaze met Sophia's, a mixture of disappointment and empathy in her eyes. Unable to bear the weight of her exposed lies and the judgmental stares of her peers, Sophia fled the mansion, tears streaming down her face. The following days at school were unbearable for Sophia. Her fabricated wealth and status had been laid bare, and the very classmates who once fawned over her now shunned her. The humiliation was profound, but what stung the most was the realization that Emily, the girl she had tormented, possessed the genuine grace and dignity she had always coveted. The morning after the disastrous party, Mr. Okocha sat in his study, his face grim. He had spent the night learning about Sophia's bullying of Emily from his daughter, who had tried to downplay the situation out of kindness. But as a father, he could not ignore the cruelty Sophia had inflicted on his only child. He asked his men to conduct an investigation, and what he learned left him speechless. "That girl has been tormenting my Emily for too long," he muttered, dialing the school vice-counselor. "It's time she faces the consequences." The next day, Sophia was summoned by the school board. The scholarship her mother had begged for was revoked, and with no way to afford the elite school fees, Sophia was expelled. The humiliation was unbearable as the news spread like wildfire among her classmates. Sophia's first instinct was to turn to James and Vanessa, her closest allies at school. She called and messaged them repeatedly, but neither responded. When she finally caught up with them at a cafe near campus, they made their disdain clear. "James, Vanessa!" Sophia called out, rushing toward their table. James glanced at her, his face cold. "What do you want, Sophia?" I need your help," she stammered. "You're my friends." Vanessa scoffed, flipping her hair. "Friends? With you? Sorry, Sophia, but we don't associate with filth. James nodded. You lied to everyone, Sophia. You embarrassed us by dragging us into your fake world. We're done. Tears filled Sophia's eyes as they walked away without looking back. She felt abandoned and betrayed, the very people she had trusted now turning their backs on her. This is all that Emily's fault. Why does she get to be born rich and I am not? She murmured to herself. Later that day, Sophia was sitting alone in the park, her mind racing with thoughts of revenge and despair, when Richard approached her. His usually confident demeanor was replaced with hesitation. Sophia, he began, sitting beside her. I need to tell you something. She looked at him warily. What is it? Have you come here to mock me too? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I lied to you. I'm not from a rich family. My name isn't even Richard Okoro. I just wanted to match your status because I thought it would impress you. Sophia's eyes widened in shock. You're not rich? You're just some nobody? I'm sorry, he said, his voice earnest. But now that the truth is out for both of us, maybe we can start fresh. I care about you, Sophia. I always have. Let's give this a chance. Sophia's face twisted in disgust. Are you serious? Do you think I'd associate with poverty? I'm going to marry a very rich man, Richard, or whatever your name is. I'm not staying at the bottom. Richard's shoulders slumped as she stormed off, leaving him heartbroken. Desperation and rage consumed Sophia. She couldn't bear the thought of Emily, the girl who had ruined her life, thriving while she suffered. The need for revenge became an obsession. She began plotting ways to destroy Emily's reputation and happiness, eventually landing on a sinister plan: to kidnap her. Sophia's jealousy of Emily only grew as she stewed over her ruined reputation. One night, as she sat alone in her small apartment, an idea began to form in her mind. A way to exact revenge and reclaim some sense of power. If she couldn't rise above Emily, she would drag her down. Using Richard's lingering feelings for her, Sophia reached out to him. I need your help, she said sweetly, her tone manipulative. You're the only one I can trust. What do you need, Sophia? He asked cautiously. I want you to help me teach Emily a lesson, Sophia replied, her voice dripping with hatred. She's the reason my life is in shambles. She has to pay. Richard hesitated. What exactly are you asking me to do? Just kidnap her, Sophia said, trying to sound casual. We'll humiliate her, make her understand what it feels like to be powerless. Richard's love for Sophia clouded his judgment. Against his better instincts, he agreed to the plan, believing it would win her favor. The opportunity came during one of Emily's late evening study sessions. As she walked home from the library, Richard approached her, pretending to ask for directions. Before she realized what was happening, he covered her mouth with a cloth and carried her to a waiting car where Sophia was already seated. They drove to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Emily was tied to a chair, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. Sophia paced in front of her, her expression twisted with anger. You think you're better than me, don't you? Sophia hissed. With your perfect life and your billionaire father. Let's see how perfect you are now. Emily didn't respond, her calm demeanor unnerving Sophia. You won't get away with this, Emily finally said, her voice steady. My father will find me. Sophia smirked. Not before I ruin you. Turning to Richard, she said, Do it. Show her what it feels like to be nothing. Richard's face paled. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I mean, Sophia snapped. Ruin her, take her dignity, make her beg. Richard backed away, shaking his head. No, Sophia, this is too far. Her father is powerful. He'll destroy us. Sophia's eyes burned with fury. You're a coward, she spat. You said you'd help me. I agreed to help you scare her, not this, Richard said firmly. I won't do it. For a moment, the room was silent except for Emily's steady breathing. Sophia, realizing she couldn't manipulate Richard further, screamed in frustration. Fine, Thank goodness I have a backup plan. As the hours passed with no sign of Emily, Mr. Okocha wasted no time in organizing a massive search party. He offered a hefty reward for any information that could lead to finding his daughter. The news spread quickly, and the entire city became involved, searching high and low. Meanwhile, at the abandoned warehouse, Sophia's plans were unraveling faster than she could manage. Richard, guilt-ridden and hesitant, had already begun to regret his involvement. The tension in the room was thick as Sophia, desperate to salvage her scheme, barked orders. "This isn't over yet," she said, pacing angrily. "We need to make her suffer." Emily, tied to a chair, remained calm, despite the danger. "You won't win, Sophia," she said firmly. "My father will find me, and when he does, you'll regret this." Sophia smirked, but said nothing. She motioned to Richard, trying to push him into action. "Do it now," she demanded. "Show her who's in control." Richard hesitated. "This is too far, Sophia. We need to let her go." "You're weak," Sophia snapped, turning to Emily with fury. "I'll handle this myself." She grabbed her phone and made a call. "Bring the others," she said coldly. "It's time to finish this." As the call ended, the warehouse door burst open. Alex stood there, flanked by 2 security guards hired by Mr. Okocha. His face was a mixture of anger and determination. "Sophia, step away from her," Alex ordered. Sophia froze, the phone still in her hand. "What are you doing here?" she spat. "This has nothing to do with you." "It has everything to do with me," Alex said, moving toward Emily. "You've gone too far, Sophia. It ends now." Richard, overwhelmed by guilt, stepped back, his hands raised. "I didn't want to do this," he mumbled. "I was only helping her because you're just as pathetic as she is," Alex interrupted sharply. "You'll both face the consequences for this." Sophia, realizing she was out of options, lunged toward Emily, trying to grab her before Alex could intervene. But Alex was faster. He pulled Sophia back, his grip firm. "Let her go, Sophia," Alex said sternly. "It's over." Sophia's composure cracked. She screamed in frustration, tears streaming down her face. "She has everything. She's perfect, rich, and loved by everyone. I couldn't stand it anymore." Emily, now untied, stood and looked at Sophia with a mix of pity and sadness. "You could have had friends, Sophia. You didn't have to do this." Sophia slumped to the floor, her strength and resolve gone. "I hated you," she admitted quietly, "because you reminded me of everything I'll never be." The police arrived shortly after, alerted by Alex. Sophia and Richard were both arrested on the spot. As they were led away in handcuffs, Sophia looked back at Emily one last time. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "For everything." Emily didn't respond but met her gaze with calm understanding. For all the pain Sophia had caused, Emily knew her hatred stemmed from deep insecurity and sadness. Later that evening, as Emily rested at home, Alex stopped by to check on her. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. Emily nodded. "I'm fine, thanks to you." Alex smiled. "You're stronger than you realize, Emily. Not everyone could have handled this with as much grace as you did." Emily looked at him, her expression thoughtful. "It's not strength, Alex. It's just knowing that I have people who care about me. People like you." Sophia faced the full consequences of her actions in the days that followed. Expelled from school, disgraced, and with a criminal record, she was left to confront the ruins of her life. The classmates who once admired her now avoided her. As she sat alone in her small room, she reflected on her choices. The jealousy and bitterness that had consumed her had led to nothing but pain, for herself and others. For the first time, she realized the cost of her hatred. In the weeks following the ordeal, Emily and Alex grew closer. Their shared experiences brought them together, and they often found themselves talking for hours about their dreams, values, and plans for the future. One sunny afternoon, as they walked through the school gardens, Alex turned to Emily with a soft smile. "You know, Emily, you've taught me a lot. It's not about wealth or status. It's about the person you choose to be." Emily smiled back. And you've shown me that there are people who will stand by you, no matter how tough things get. Thank you for that.